What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the hangout spot where you already know it's real talk, boxing talk, live from my man cave. It's your boy Johnny. And even though we got football in the background, we gonna talk boxing, man, because yesterday it went down in Saudi Arabia for the undisputed light heavyweight championship, a much anticipated fight between Artur Beterbiev and Bivol. And in my opinion, it didn't disappoint. You had the two best guys in the division, both undefeated, both on the pound for pound list, and the winner was going to walk away with all the straps at light heavyweight and be the undisputed king of the division. However, the fight ended in a very, very close, it's not controversial, but in very, very close fashion. And because of that, you had a lot of fans that were super emotional, and they were going at it back and forth because although the decision was that Artur Beterbiev wins that fight, he is now the undisputed light heavyweight champion. He wins by majority decision, meaning two of the three judges had it scored for him. One judge had it a draw. A lot of people thought that Bivol did enough to win because he was doing the better work in the first half of that fight, and Beterbiev obviously did the better work in the second half of the fight. In my opinion, I thought that Bivol slightly won by decision, but I'm not mad at the decision either because he gave up some of the later rounds, especially the championship rounds, 10 and 11. He didn't win, and he didn't come out with that much fire in the 12th, although he finished the round in strong fashion. So I'm not mad at the decision. I just had it for Bivol. At worst, I had it a draw. However, there were some fans yesterday that were crying robbery because they thought that Bivol was robbed. Let me explain something, okay? First of all, we have to understand what a robbery in boxing is. And if you think that this fight was a robbery, then realistically, all due respect, maybe you need to check into a rehab facility, man, because maybe you have an alcohol or a drug problem. This fight was far from a robbery, so let's stop that narrative, okay? When a fight is this close, that can potentially go either way, how can we call that a robbery, man? I mean, a robbery is a fight where one fighter clearly wins and they give it to the other one. I'll give you an example. Manny Pacquiao against Tim Bradley, the first one, robbery. You can call that a robbery, but you can't call this fight a robbery, man. So the fans that are crying robbery, cut the nonsense, man. Let's keep it 100. This was a close fight, but it was controversial, right? Depending on how you see it, because fans see fights differently, and that's what I love about boxing. But unfortunately, it's the same thing with the judges. They're going to see things differently also. I mean, you had one judge that scored at 116, 112 for Beterbiev, and you're like, what the hell is this guy looking at? So, those are the things that annoy me about the sport of boxing. But I said, after the final bell, I told a friend of mine who I was sitting next to, watching the fight with, that it all depends on how the judges appreciate what was going on in the ring. Like, there are some judges that do appreciate guys that are aggressive, and there are some judges that do appreciate guys, that are going to show some ring generalship. And in my opinion, that's what happened. You had judges that appreciated Artur Beterbiev's aggression. He landed the harder shots, and hence why they gave him the decision. But in all due reality, they're supposed to judge it on, 4 different criteria, which is, clean punching, effective aggression, ring generalship, and defense. And I thought that, the ring generalship and the effective punching belonged to Bivol. Obviously, the aggression belonged to Beterbiev. If you look at the final punch stat, Bivol outlanded Beterbiev by about 4 or 5 punches. So, again, extremely close. But Beterbiev landed more power punches. I believe he landed about 7 or 8 more power punches than Bivol. So, again, would I have been, pissed off with a draw? No. I actually thought that they were going to call it a draw after the final bell. But even though I had Bivol winning, I'm not mad that Beterbiev got the decision either. I mean, he fought well. Bivol obviously was the guy that was the much better fighter in the first half of that fight. Using the jab, landing some combinations, and at times he wasn't afraid to mix it up. But then, in the latter part of the fight, and this you got to give Beterbiev credit for, man. I mean, this guy just nonstop applying pressure, coming forward. And he showed in this fight that he's not just a mauler. And for the people out there that looked at his record, 20-0 with 20 knockouts, and thought he was just a power puncher or a mauler, you're wrong, man. This guy can box. Where I thought Bivol had the advantage was the age, right? 33 against Beterbiev, who was 39. And I did kind of sense that there was some decline with Beterbiev going into this fight. And I did see a little bit of a decline in this one. But nonetheless, man, he showed that he can box. He showed that that pressure is real. You know, so some of the sparring partners that they interviewed prior to this fight that just said, you know, sparring with Beterbiev is like going to hell. And then there was another one that I saw that said sparring with him in a ring is like being with a monster in a room, and the room keeps getting smaller and smaller. He keeps getting closer and closer. I thought those analogies were funny, but it's true, man. This guy, you know, he cuts off the ring, and he's going to consistently apply not just that physical pressure, but that mental pressure. And it was getting to Bivol. I mean, Bivol got on his bike, you know, for the majority of the second half of that fight, fighting in spurts, but I still think he did enough. I don't really consider it running. I just consider it moving. He was using his legs, and he had to, because like I said, this guy was landing some hard thudding shots, you know, so you're not going to stand in front of him, because if he would have done that, he would have probably gotten stopped. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a good performance by both guys. It wasn't the best fight I've ever seen, but it was a good, solid, competitive fight. I enjoyed it, and I'd like to see it again. You know, but we'll see what happens, because now Beterbiev, again, is the king of the division. There was no rematch clause in this fight, but you did have Turki Al-Sheikh, who obviously supports Bivol, saying after on social media that he thought that, you know, they got the decision wrong. Eddie Hearn screaming robbery. He obviously promotes Bivol as well, so maybe those guys could get together and work with Arthur and get a rematch going. That's what I would like to see, because realistically, I think the fans deserve it. I think they deserve it. I think each of them deserve it. And it'd be interesting to see what they do stylistically to change things around, because both guys did some things wrong. And I know that when they look at the fight again and they break it down, they're going to realize that they should have done things a little bit more differently in this fight. And that's what's going to make the rematch, in my opinion, even better. But anyhow, kudos to Arthur, who's the undisputed champ. Bivol, he took the loss in stride, did not cry robbery. You know, basically said that, you know, he respected the decision and he's going to move on. So a class act there, you know, so I give him, you know, props for that. But you know, again, as fans, depending on how you saw it and how you see fights, you know, that's going to determine who you realistically thought won. But at the end of the day, there was no losers yesterday. I don't think either fighter, even though it sucked that one of them had to lose, you know, I think that, you know, Dmitry Bivol's stock did not fall at all. You know, most people are going to say that they either want to see him either in a rematch or in another big fight. I don't know if that will possibly be a Canelo fight rematch, or maybe even Benavidez. And then for Beterbiev, again, he cements himself, you know, as a potential future Hall of Famer, you know, and a true monster, you know, in this era, man. I got to give him a lot of credit. Even though I do see at his age a bit of a decline, there's still plenty left in that gas tank. So we want to see him again as well, even if it isn't against Bivol. But anyhow, fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't scream robbery, please. You know, if you want to make a case for your fighter, you know, winning, then that's fine. But by no means, you know, I hope, I'd be disappointed, you know, if anybody leaves a comment, you know, below that says that this was a robbery. But anyhow, it'd be interesting to hear what you have to say. And as always, don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button and smash that like button, as it will help with the visibility of the channel and get it out there to other people. We need some more subscribers. If we want to keep this train rolling, we're going to need some more subscribers. So make sure you like, share, and you spread the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is how we do it up here at the Hangout Spot. But as always, appreciate the love and support from my boxing people and followers. This is your boy Johnny, signing out from the Hangout Spot, and I'll talk to everybody soon.